this morning to discuss specifically the release of the new natural gas energy assessment from the Potential Gas Committee of the Colorado School of Mines, reminding you that the PGC develops this report once every 2 years and has been doing so for over 40 years. The integrity associated and the science associated with this report has been very valuable to the industry and has been very valuable to the American Gas Association in terms of trying to talk to individuals and advocate, as we do, regarding natural gas in the country. I think it's time, if you will, for all of us, and our hope is that this goes out to people as well as policy makers, to get over this notion that we're running out of natural gas. It simply is not true. We have a very large natural gas resource endowment here in the United States and North America in general. And when we look at the uses of natural gas, all the way from home uses to industrial, power generation, even transportation uses for natural gas, we're very excited to be able to say that that reliable source of energy for the country is going to be here for years to come. The Potential Gas Committee that created the numbers that go with this report is composed of volunteers. And I'm not going to steal John's thunder, he'll talk to many of these things. But I did want to introduce a number of other people that are associated with the committee that are here. One of the advantages for the media people that are here today is once Mr. Curtis, Dr. Curtis, has made his presentation, we will open up the floor and you can ask Dr. Curtis questions, myself questions, any of the other PGC representatives here. It is an open forum for you to ask them any questions you want regarding upstream operations, natural gas resource endowment itself. We're not going to limit what that is. So in order here with Dr. Curtis is Larry Gring. Larry is the current president of the Potential Gas Committee. Next to Larry Gring is Mike Decker. Mike is a former president of the committee as well as chairman of the committee. And an observer with the board of directors is Porter Bennett. Porter operates in a business out of Colorado called Bentech Energy that puts out a great deal of information, source information on daily uses of natural gas and also various analyses. So these gentlemen are here to answer your questions also after the presentation. I'd just like to make a couple of points from AGA's view. As I said before, with respect to natural gas, with respect to its potential as an energy resource in this country, we need to understand that we have an abundant, vast, diverse source of energy here in America. A secure source, a source of energy that is developed by American industry and ingenuity, and we need to get over this concept or this idea that we're running out of it as a resource. It simply is not true. One of the stories that John told recently on his visit here that reminds me of this, John and I both started with the same company in the exploration business back in the 1970s, Texaco, when it was Texaco. John noted in one of the discussions recently that when he was doing exploration for Texaco back in the mid-70s, the price of oil was $3. That's what they ran the economics on. The price of natural gas was 23 cents. We went through a period of time in the late 70s into the early 80s where we were talking about natural gas running out of it again, disappearing. And John points out we weren't running out of natural gas. We never have. We were running out of natural gas that we were going to produce for 23 cents. Today, technology, the economics of this endowment, this resource base, have changed dramatically. It's been reflected in the reports the PGC have put out in successive periods. And the opportunity now to talk about that resource base, the diversity and the size of it, we'll turn that over to Dr. Curtis and let him do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris, and good morning. I'd like to thank you all for being here today, and particularly thank AGA for hosting this forum. If I could have the first slide. going? Okay, not too bad. And then perhaps just dim the lights a little bit if that's too bright. Oh, okay. For the sake of the filming today, we won't dim the lights, but you do have this information available to you. And in addition, for the press, if there's any of this information you'd like to have, there's a note in the press release to contact the potential gas agency at the School of Mines, and you can get copies of this for your own use that are printable. But I would like to talk about the latest assessment of the technically recoverable natural gas resources in the United States. This is work done, as Chris mentioned, by the Potential Gas Committee, an organization that has been publishing this assessment for over 44 years. And the committee is composed of volunteers, as Chris mentioned, that work these basins for a living. And so they are intimately familiar with the geology, and we have taken a look at how our perception of this geological endowment of natural gas changes through time in the United States. Just a little bit of background. The committee itself is composed of volunteers, with Larry as our president. Darrell Pierce is our chairman, but was unable to join us today. The committee functions independently, but the Potential Gas Agency at the Colorado School of Mines, where I am a professor as well as the director of the agency, provides technical support to the committee in methodology. We also provide administrative support in getting this report out, and just generally work hand in hand. The agency itself, the School of Mines, is supported by our industry, by contracts and grants and donations from our natural gas industry. Bit of clarification, the committee does not look at proved reserves. That is information that's reported by EIA of our Department of Energy. We do look, though, at the resource base. So these are technically recoverable resources. These are the resources that back up the proved reserves and is much larger amount of natural gas. So while proved reserves look at known gas reservoirs and are defined under very specific economic and operating conditions, when you look at the resource base, you have to consider what's discovered to date, what's undiscovered, that is new fields yet to be found, and the effects of technology and an overprint of economics. What I'm here to report to you today is natural gas that the committee believes exists in sufficient quantities using current technology to be extractable by our industry. Those numbers that come out, a little difficult to see here with the lighting, end up being 1,836 trillion cubic feet. And as background on that, we produce roughly 20 cubic feet in this country and import a couple of more TCF. So we're looking at a 22 to 23 trillion cubic feet of consumption in the United States every year. So these are very large numbers. When coupled with the proved reserves reported by EIA, we end up with a future supply in excess of 2,000 trillion cubic feet. This is the largest assessment that's been reported by the committee, and it's the largest increase from the previous report that's ever been reported by the committee. The committee reports natural gas in three categories of decreasing certainty. So we are essentially risking these numbers based on the amount of geological and engineering